All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our special program here on Newsmax Television. I'm Steve Malzberg, and of course we're talking about the shooting yesterday in San Bernardino, California. The FBI still unwilling to say if it was a terrorist attack. And again, you know, we have to understand, when you look back at what happened at Fort Hood, I do not believe that has ever been reclassified as a terrorist attack, because there are still victims who survived, family members of those who were deceased, who are begging for the correct classification of that attack by Nadal Hassan at Fort Hood, who was an obvious jihadist, who shot at Allah Akbar when he did the shooting, and they still classify it as a case of workplace violence. So if that's workplace violence, when you were acknowledged to have had contact with jihadists, when you had talked about radical Islam issues on the base from time to time over the months leading up to it, when you shouted out Allah Akbar, and that's not been called a terror attack, what are the chances? Let me go on record. I don't care if the FBI tells us that this is not a terrorist attack. You will not convince me. First of all, where's all the conflicts at work? Who do you have conflicts with at work? Where? But I heard Wolf Blitzer or someone on CNN speculate, maybe they were making fun of his wife. What, are you crazy? Yeah, honey, they're making fun of you at work. I got an idea. Let's drop our 6-month-old off and go get killed. Joining us now is Jeffrey Gardere, America's Psychologist, course director at Touro College of Osteopathic Medicine. Hello, doctor. How are you? Welcome aboard, sir.
You got it right, Steve. Thank you.
Second try, but I got it right. All right, we don't have a lot of time, so let me get to it right now. If this guy was a jihadist and had been radicalized, why do you think, and with the bomb factory that he had at home, why do you think he, A, attended that Christmas party, and then B, chose that, out-of-the-way target to attack instead of something with much more impact and bigger in the city, a restaurant? You know what I'm saying? Why do you think he did what he did if he was a jihadist? Let's work on that premise.
Well, I think it may speak back to what President Obama said, that there were perhaps mixed motivations. Someone, and again, this is all conjecture, but someone who at some point was going to act out in a certain way, and now being part of this installation and having some issues with these individuals, now that was the catalyst to get him to act out at that particular time, or to become the target that was going to be planned for. At some point it was going to happen then, and maybe the so-called argument that happened was then the pushing of the button, if you will.
Well, he had to come. Well, they say that if it's unlikely, because to come back in that kind of body armor with those kind of weapons and carry it out, within a half hour or less would have been amazing if it weren't pre-planned. So they're working under the pre-planned assumption. But let me ask you this, and of course,
and so am I.
Yeah.
That it was pre-planned, but that might have been the catalyst, at the time to say, okay, now we're coming in. Versus a week from now.
Well, maybe because it was a Christmas party, and if he was a jihadist, maybe that offended him.
Never know.
Yeah. Okay. What about the wife? Is it more likely to you that she was an influence on him based on where she came from, or that he influenced her? How does a mother, unless she has a religious conviction, and we're speculating, drop off her 6-month-old newborn and go commit suicide, basically?
Well, I believe that, again, just conjecture, but this is a person who may have also been radicalized, and what we call in psychology the folie à deux, meaning you have individuals who are both unhealthy emotionally, you put them together, and 1 + 1 makes 3, to the point of where you break all rules of nature, maternal bonds, and give up your child, to someone else to go out and commit murder.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It would have had to have been. Could this guy, people say who we've heard from, like the father of the shooter and others, they had no idea. No, same thing we've heard other times with the Fort Dix Six. One was a taxi driver, pizza delivery guy. Is it possible that people who see them every day have no idea?
It is absolutely possible. Their own relatives saying that, they're absolutely shocked by this. But we do know, for example, some of the shooters, Steve, you and I talked about this, who live at home, where there is perhaps no political ambitions,
right,
but just some mental health issues,
right.
Who their families say, we can't believe this happened.
Right. Doc, sorry so short. Thanks for joining us. We'll speak to you again. Rick Unger is next, folks. Don't go away.